Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now, as I'm sure you've seen, a lot of things have changed over the past couple of days, and we've seen a lot of movement within the market. So, what I want to do today was go over a broad market overview and kind of get a sense of where things are at. One thing that we're seeing with Bitcoin in particularly is it's broken out of kind of a first structure that I drew, and so I kind of want to return back to that chart, and we can kind of see maybe what some of the future options look like. So, anyway, let's go on ahead and dive right in. So I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty good today. From what we're seeing, obviously basically everything's green. I think the biggest red bubble that we have is Tau down here at minus 2.4, which in the crypto market is not bad at all. But we're seeing a lot of, I guess you could say, some of like the larger altcoins. Near, we've got Sol, we've got Arbitrum, we've got Matic, Caspa. A lot of these are moving pretty nicely. We've got Jasmine right here, which shout out to the Jasmine fans. That we've got a lot of pretty good movement here. Obviously, kind of like I discussed in my last video, a lot of the biggest ones are memes, just because meme coins do kind of have a higher beta than most everything else does in the market. So, obviously when they go up, they go way up, and when they go down, they go way down in comparison to the rest of the market. So, but overall, everything here is looking pretty good. Everything's kind of green in the market. Things are pumping. Bitcoin's kind of going crazy. We'll look at that here in a second. And with that, we can see the crypto fear and greed index has definitely, it's pulled out of fear pretty firmly, and we're sitting in the upper neutral, almost moving into greed. So, if we cut this chart down a little bit, we can see, we've been sitting in fear for essentially all of August at this point. So, this is the first time other than here on the 8th of August that we pulled out of fear. And so now we're moving back into neutral. This is, I would say, a nice sign. We are starting to see a little bit of recovery from some of the alt bleed outs that we've been seeing over the past several weeks. Things are looking good. I will say, we still are in the downward channel of Bitcoin. If we move over to the chart here, we can see, I've kind of kept all the lines that I've drawn previously just so we can kind of see how things are playing out. But we still are in the downward channel. It's just we did have a very strong break out of this wedge that I had drawn, which was good. Obviously I'm pretty happy with how this has worked out. I did explain that, this was one of the options. I think on our last channel, price was somewhere in here. So it was definitely towards the end of the wedge. We did see it come and break through, and it obviously broke through with a lot of momentum, and we're seeing it still kind of sit up here. We're not seeing any gains come back. So, as I alluded to in the title of my video, this is what I would consider as step one, right? We beat step one, we broke out of the wedge with momentum. We're now moving up into this upper channel. Now the second, and I would say probably the more difficult task, comes to breaking this channel. This channel, we can see, this is kind of the superstructure of the market that we've been seeing ever since, I think, like the beginning of January, I guess. So, what our next test here is we gotta, hopefully we'll run up into the top of this channel, and then we need to see it again, hopefully a candle similar to this, where we break this channel with force, and then from there, I think it'll be kind of sky's the limit at that point. I think we'll be moving, and since we're out of this channel, provided we do break, kind of this 73.5 market, then at that point, Bitcoin's in price discovery, who knows where it goes, right? Like, I think this is, if we break this 74,000 line, this is where, we can maybe start getting a little bit crazy of, does it hit 100? Does it hit 150? Does it hit 170? We've been through a couple of those kind of Bitcoin metric charts previously on this channel. And so, you guys are aware of some of the possibilities, if we were to kind of map previous cycles onto this one. So, ultimately what we are looking to see those, first off, we've got to get to this upper channel, and then we got to break it. Now, again, if we don't break this upper channel, like it's not the end of the world. It'll probably come back, just do what it's done here. It'll come back, it'll kind of bounce around, maybe it'll recover, maybe it'll come back down again. But ultimately, what we are looking for is a break of this upper channel. So next, moving into the larger market and looking at the RSI heat map, we can see that things, obviously things are pumping. Things have been pumping for the past couple of days. And not only are they pumping, but they're pumping very aggressively, right? And so obviously, as we're seeing, things are kind of starting to move up into the strong and overbought territory. There are more in the overbought than we've seen probably in a while, but overall, things are kind of upper neutral, lower strong. We can see the average is kind of at the bottom end of the strong category. So, this is something that I don't think is kind of too crazy. You know, if we start looking at this on different time frames, you know, everything is essentially moved up. If we look on like the weekly time frame, from oversold into neutral, which is good. You know, if we go to 4 hour, basically at this point, everything I would imagine is going to be sitting in overbought. Yeah, overbought and then overbought again. So, you know, we definitely have seen a lot of movement, and this is the level of movement that I would imagine we see some level of recovery from. You know, I'm not saying it's going to go back down to where it was before, but even if it just kind of pulls back or even just kind of trades sideways, cools off a little bit for the next couple of days, that's, I think, what a lot of people would be wanting to see and what we should be looking for. So, you know, like I've said before on the channel, chasing pumps is not a great idea. You know, if we move back to the Bitcoin chart real quick, you know, buying in here was a good idea. Obviously not financial advice. You got to make your own decisions. There is a real possibility where this could have broken down, as I explained. But I'm just saying from a risk reward perspective, you know, this was a good time to buy because we're sitting on the bottom end of the channel. After we've already broken, like, who knows if it goes up to, you know, 82,000, sure, it's still a good time to buy. But I'm just talking purely from a risk reward perspective. If we look at this channel, this red line is kind of like the median line of this channel, right? I mean, we're sitting essentially, if we're to break this into like percentiles of what we've been trading in for the past, you know, almost 6 months at this point, we're in like the 75th percentile, which from a risk reward perspective doesn't sound great to me. But again, you know, you got to make your own decisions and be comfortable with, you know, the conviction that you have. But I'm talking from a short-term trading perspective. Obviously, you know, don't be chasing pumps. Long-term, I don't think it's going to matter. You know, I think if we're seeing 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, $1 million Bitcoins, whenever that does happen, this is not going to matter, right? Like, you could buy at the Pico top of this next bull run, and like, as long as you don't sell it, you'll still probably be fine. So you got to make your own decision there. But from a risk reward perspective, that's why, you know, you have to maintain a clear mind, you know, when you're thinking about the market, and not let fear rule you, right? Because ultimately, if you were to take a trade down here, we break below, cut your loss. I mean, yeah, you lost a little bit, but now if you go here and it comes all the way down here and we break the low, you've lost a ton more, because now we're in this superstructure, and coming down essentially to break this superstructure, like I said, you know, we're already at 75% of the way up where it's been trading in the past 6 months. So that's just something to think about. You know, obviously, yeah, I'm not like a crypto price oracle, right? I don't know where things are going to go. This is just my opinion based on things that, you know, obviously we've been able to see in the past and how things have been trading. Anything can happen. So, you know, obviously, you know, do your own research, make your own decisions. These are my opinions only. So moving back into liquidations, I wanted to show something that we saw on Thursday, I believe. And this is, we can see, you know, Bitcoin price. When Bitcoin price pumped, shorts got wrecked, which I don't feel like that's super surprising. But this is usually what we look to see, right? When the market gets too bullish, and when the market starts to, you know, have a more common consensus of what's going to happen, usually it goes in the opposite way, because that's how the market makes money, and the market usually tries to inflict the most pain, right? So as we can see here, you know, moving up, it wrecked shorts, and obviously, you know, it killed a little bit of longs too. But you know, that's some of the largest liquidations we've seen ever since the 7th of August, which is when we saw that other pump again, and then also when we saw that super large wick down on the 4th of August. So last thing I want to check out is the derivatives visual screener. This is something that we've looked at a couple times previously. You know, probably I think this is the first time that we've ever looked at this on the channel and seen it primarily in the like shorts closing. It's actually probably more longs entering at this point, right? So this is meaning essentially that the sentiment in the market is changing pretty dramatically. As we've talked about before on the channel, usually when things get too aggressive in one direction, there is likely some room for a pullback, just because, you know, we need to kind of keep the market stable and not let, you know, things get too crazy one direction or the other. So, you know, like I said, I have no idea about anything in terms of where things are going, or, you know, exact price targets or whatever. I think long term we're bullish for crypto and Bitcoin, but ultimately, you know, short term I have no idea. And so, you know, looking at this to me seems like we might be in for at least a little bit of a minor pullback to kind of clear some of this leverage that is looking to be entered on longs. So anyway, you know, hopefully the information in this video is useful. Like I said, none of this is, financial investment, legal, accounting, any sort of advice that you could possibly dream of. These are just kind of my opinions and things that I'm seeing within the market. Hopefully they're valuable to you. So far, it seems like we've had a pretty decent track record, but I mean, this is a new channel, so, it's not like I've got years and years of track record, at least publicly, to go off of. I've been doing this for a while, so, I'm pretty comfortable with my analyses and my decisions, but, obviously none of this is advice. I just serve to be as kind of a baseline for you to kind of maybe help form your own views on the market, and then from there you can decide, maybe you agree with me, maybe you think I'm crazy, who knows. Somebody will be right eventually. We just got to wait and see kind of how that plays out. So anyway, if you have any questions or comments or anything, please do drop them in the comment section. I do interact and reply to all of the comments that I receive, just because I do like to see what you guys are talking about, and if you have any questions, I do like to help answer those if I can. If I can't, I'll let you know, and maybe give you some resources that might be able to better help. So anyway, also, if you did enjoy the video, please do like and subscribe. Thank you all for helping me crush my subscriber goal that I had. I think my new adjusted goal is I'm going to be trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of October. This channel is less than a month old at this point, so I am very excited and very happy for all of the support and interaction and growth that I've seen thus far. But obviously I do want to continue to hopefully provide this valuable information to more and more people, because I think that there's a lot of things in the market where if you don't have people to at least kind of help check yourself, sometimes excessive greed and excessive fear can take over. So I'm hoping to be a place that people can go to kind of look for that. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.